Elon Musk is making a bigger impact on our world than you actually think. I know Elon Musk has been making a lot of headlines,
everywhere.
It depends on how you view him. I myself am a Tesla vehicle owner. He's also a Tesla vehicle owner. So we're a little biased because we own Teslas ourselves. So, take this with a grain of salt because we like Tesla. But even beyond just our own opinion, there's biases. There's actual credible, facts about what he's doing and how he's changing the world. Yeah. And we're going to go through it one by one. And we'll start off with humans living on Mars. Can you guys believe that? That's not science fiction. That's not some dream that's like, I don't know if it'll happen. Elon Musk's goal is to have people living, 1 million people living on Mars.
Yeah.
One day having
within our lifetime.
1 million people living on Mars. Yeah, within our lifetime. Well, at least we're speaking for ourselves.
Elon, what he does is he hypes what it's possible, but he eventually, maybe it's not 1 million, maybe it's 1,000. That's still crazy,
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sure it's going to be super expensive also for the people that do live over there.
But how many times did you watch that video? It was Sunday or Saturday when that happened? I don't remember when, but I woke up because it happened, I think 6 a.m. California time. And I woke up and I just all over social media was just like watching that rocket, because it was the first time this was ever going to happen where, we have this other company called NASA, which usually, launches rockets in the air and just either lets them explode in space or drop them in the water, and it's not reusable anymore, so they have to spend billions, millions of dollars to construct the rocket again. That takes time, energy. It just takes forever. And this guy one day was like, what if we just catch it and the rocket comes back, like half of the part that is the booster, I believe, that part that they catch. It's not the full booster rocket, but it's like the part that helps it get out of the the
atmosphere.
The atmosphere. Yeah. Which, it was nuts. I've watched that video like 100 times. And the thing is, no one thought this was possible. It almost felt like a movie scene when I was just watching it catch it, and you could hear it like in the people that were there, because this was the first attempt ever. It wasn't like, they've done this 3 or 4 times. They got the approval, I think, like on Thursday or Friday, and literally the next day Elon's like, okay, let's launch it. So and it's nuts about Elon because, like we said, we're a little bit of a fanboy, but just think about it. He has SpaceX, he has Tesla, he has Neuralink, he has Starlink, he has the Boring Company, and he also has a social media company. This guy is running 6 companies. It's not like Apple, Tim Cook, that's running just Apple. He's running 6 companies that are doing completely different things, and he's able to do, each of them are like groundbreaking things. The rockets, the self-drive. No one was thinking about self-driving cars, 10 years ago until Tesla came about. Nobody was thinking about chips in your brain until Neuralink came around. And I don't know if you guys seen those videos of this guy literally controlling his computer, playing video games all through his brain. The Boring Company tunnels that he's building. And the craziest thing of all, and even the satellites, now we're talking about how maybe in the future we won't even need cellular towers, because you could just do everything through satellite connectivity. So this guy is really pushing the boundaries. And that's why in our previous episode where we were talking about the stock market, about the economy and what's going to happen, are we going to hit hyperinflation? There's geniuses out there that aren't even American. He was born in South Africa and came here because America is the only place that will truly allow him to do stuff like this, and have not only allow him to do that, but the engineers, because it's not just him. It's also the engineers that were working for him that are building this stuff. He's almost just the leader pushing them and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think we're going to live in a future, because this is the rockets, right? Do you want to talk a little bit more about this before we move on to the car event? Or
no, just like I don't know if you have the video, but the fact
I have the videos, and I'll play it as we're talking.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it's just an amazing, astonishing thing to see where it's able to catch it back, and the cost of it too, I think.
Do you want to watch it live? That way they can see our reaction.
All right, let's watch it one time.
Yeah.
Landing burn 13 ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines.
First time.
We can see those chopsticks now in the air.
I still get excited. Like, that's crazy.
Booster under current shutdown.
Nicadilla has caught the booster.
That's why Clark, those little arms. It had to be precise.
This is absolutely insane. On the first ever attempt, we have successfully caught the Super Heavy booster back at the launch tower.
I would love to be working there.
SpaceX stop. Just triple.
Kidding me?
Quadruple. Sucks that it's private, but yeah, I don't know. That was pretty crazy that he was able to land that rocket. And you know, not only is it going to help us get to Mars, but this is going to also help once it gets safer, because yeah, it's caught on fire, you know, the booster. But once it gets safer, just imagine we'll be able to travel across the world, not just people, but cargo ships. He wants to be able to use this technology instead of having ships, you know, taking all our products across the ocean. What if they're done by rockets that are constantly launching? Because for him, taking off the legs of the booster and catching it, he says he can pretty much be able to launch this rocket within an hour or two. So that's nuts. Before, NASA would take years to be able to relaunch it again. And the craziest thing is NASA has a similar program, the exact same program that SpaceX did, but they still haven't been able to accomplish it. And they spent so far $24 billion just to be able to do the research and development. They still haven't launched the same thing as him. And SpaceX did it with $5 billion. So that's how much money Elon is taking out, because he technically doesn't have to catch the rocket. He could do what NASA does and just drop it in the ocean, but he's pushing the boundaries and also cutting costs. And that's what our government has to do, you know, figure out ways to cut costs. And that's what tells you how much money we're going to save and how crazy the world can be if we can send people across the world like that, or live in Mars.
Yeah,
Crazy world.
And that's rockets. Now, Elon Musk is making a huge push for low cost and safe transportation with the two things. They're Robotaxi and what is it? The Robo van.
Yeah, I don't know I forget the name exactly, but it's the van that looks like a weird RV looking thing.
Cybercab. Yeah.
That's the top one, and then that's the Robo van, I believe.
Yeah. So it's super cool to be able to see something like the Cybercab, which you know, their goal is to be completely autonomous. It drives by itself. The price range is around like $30,000, and I think they want to produce it by 2026.
That's his goal. And what's really cool about this event is, I don't know if you caught it, he came out walking out in a spacesuit, SpaceX. That's literally what he's doing. He finishes working for SpaceX. All right, Tesla mode. That's what it is. It's pretty nuts. And he gets into this car. To be honest, it's kind of cool looking car.
It is really cool looking.
Kind of cool looking car.
Super cool.
And it drives by itself. No steering wheel, no pedals to brake or anything. And he said in California, it's going to be by 2025. Yeah. But anyone who has like a Model Y or a Model 3, they're going to be able to use the full autonomy, where right now it's full self-driving supervised. But he wants to do it in a way where you'll never have to touch the steering wheel again. And in this event, I believe he had, I think I have the stats here, he had a couple of cars literally driving people around. There was 0 crashes. Of course, this was a controlled environment and all that stuff. But still, imagine a world where you no longer have to literally own a car. You could own one car for your whole family, or you could just rent it whenever you need it. That's going to, you know, reduce your insurance, maintenance, accidents.
I saw that their goal is to, it will cost around 20 cents per mile to operate, which is super cheap. I mean, I went on an Uber not too long ago. It was paid. I didn't have to pay for it, but it was like to get from my house to Hollywood, it was like $100. And it's a stupid model because it's like, okay, $100. No, the driver made $100 in an hour, right? No. Uber took like 50-60% of that. They only made half of that.
Yeah.
And this time, if you're an Uber driver, if you're a Lyft driver, if you're a taxi driver, this is a scary time, because I think Uber, you know, definitely doesn't like this. Unless they team up with Tesla, that's where Uber can be smart, if they team up with Tesla. But then all the drivers, what's going to happen to them?
Yeah. Yeah, or he was talking about how people can benefit this where they buy a couple of these cars, and while you're working at your job, they could be driving around, because people already do that with Turo.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that where they have a couple of cars and they just rent them out. So, yeah, the van is a trippy as though, because that is like
A bus.
no one saw that coming. Everyone they were waiting for the full self-driving car, but the bus, that thing is nuts because he wants to be able to change the way we even think about driving or even experience about cars, where you could have a restaurant in there, you could have a coffee shop in there, you could have a place where they give you a massage when you get off work, or you hang out with your friends, be able to just chill there. You don't have to be thinking about the road or sit in a way like you do in a regular transportation. So I don't know. This one, I don't know when he said it's going to come out exactly. It's almost like gray lines of when it's going to be around. There wasn't a date. I tried to look for it, but this is the most trippiest one because a lot of people hate it, the design of it. They think it looks really ugly, but I don't know. I think that one is the most interesting, especially because he has another company that are building tunnels. And that company that's building tunnels is going to be able to... The Boring Company. And this is what he wants to do eventually. If you see this video here, the van, goes underground, there's tunnels. That's going to eliminate a lot of street traffic, pollution in the air, and be able to design cities differently.
Where people walk.
And these vans, you could work in them, you can chill in them, and they're safer because it's not a human operating this one plus the ones next to it. So you'll be a lot more safe. So I don't know. We are going to enter, maybe this is going to take 20 years, but that's still around my lifetime where I'll be 50 years old. I don't know. It's really nuts what he's trying to do.
And that's not the end of it. So Elon Musk is doing a lot.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to see what he came out with, is the personal assistant, basically the robot. What's the name of the robot again? I forgot. Optimus, right? Where it's gonna be like your personal assistant for 20 to 30,000. You'll be able to pay for someone that takes care of your kids, mows your lawn, is a bartender for your parties, does your laundry, takes out the trash. Everyone
flirts with your wife.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That.
You're a personal bodyguard. Like I would buy this. I know Elon is gonna have a finance option where people are gonna be like, I will finance, and it's like $500 a month.
20K isn't that bad.
No.
20K is not that bad.
500 to 1,000 a month, something like that. I don't know. Even that is not a bad deal because you think of a nanny, you think of a personal assistant, a chef. It's thousands of dollars a month to hire those people. But if you can have someone that you just pay once, 20 or 30K, or you finance it, and they could do all that, and I'm sure it's over-the-air updates just like their car. And look at those videos about what they can do already. It's like insane.
The craziest thing about Musk and his company is these are not prototypes. He's literally using them in his factory to work. So even factory workers are going to be pretty scared because this guy can learn. It's slow, like if you see the video. And the craziest thing about this robot, the only reason why he was able to develop this was because of his cars. So everything that he does is somewhat connected. And that's why it makes sense why he's doing all these little things. The Starlink is going to help, connect us to the internet, help connect the self-driving cars to the internet, all of this stuff. And one thing we have to admit about what happened here, which a lot of people were calling out, is these robots in the event weren't operating by themselves. Even though it was really cool watching them dancing. He had like one dancing in the top floor, other ones silvering drinks at bartenders, and there were zero accidents. Of course, they had like 5 or 6 guys making sure they were fine. But just think about it. Maybe at first it's not gonna, you're not gonna have it at your house, but people are gonna have it in their warehouse. Tesla's going to have it in their warehouse. Amazon right now, I don't know if you guys know about this, Amazon themselves, so it's not just Elon that's developing these robots, it's also Amazon. And Amazon right now is the one that's pushing the most to have robots in their factory because it would, reduce the cost of shipping and their products. Currently right now, if you see this chart here, Amazon has 750,000 robots working in their warehouse. So this isn't something like, oh my God, maybe in 10, 20 years. It's currently being used by these big companies to help reduce costs. Again, that is deflationary for a lot of stuff that is coming into the world. And just think about it. Imagine Starbucks has 4 of these guys let's say they're not fully autonomous, but there's one guy in hours away in his office, every once in a while having to remote control them, whether they have a little glitch or anything. So that means it went from having 5 people to 1 person, robo controlling these robots. Imagine YouTubers. Just like the Cybertruck, every TikToker, social media guy has a Cybertruck. All these TikTokers and influencers are gonna have like 2 or 3 of these little robots following them everywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy to see all this, and
Yeah.
maybe like what you should start thinking of is high income paying skills, because a lot of low income paying skills are gonna get replaced, and the people that control or like they help maintain these robots are the ones that are going to be making the big bucks, the engineers behind all this stuff. But the actual people that were the warehouse workers, they're going to disappear.
Yeah. And this is not something that is going to happen later. Like this video here in China already has a robo-vans, already has full self-driving vans that take people. This isn't something that eventually we're going to do. We're actually a little bit far behind because there's places like China that's already doing it. If you see this video, he's chilling. No one's driving that van. So the future is not later. It is here. And we're actually catching up to other countries like China that's already doing it. Yeah. They also have their own little robot. I don't know if you've seen this video that was going around. China also has. Our main competitor in anything is China. China has this other robot that's also looks sort of similar, but is just as compatible as the Optimus Prime.
That's
Pretty
scary.
scary. It's like the movie I, Robot. That's everyone's like saying, what if these things go crazy on you? I don't know. They seem kind of slow.
It's a crazy time we're living in. So it's like a lot of things that will change in our life. And that's why going back to the initial, statement that we said that Elon Musk is making a bigger impact on our world than you think.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of negativity towards him when it comes to, X and his political stance and all that. And yeah, I mean, he's a person. He has his own opinions, and that's totally fine. That's America.
Yeah.
We have our own opinions. Everyone can have their own opinion. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
But look beyond that and see how he's actually impacting lives and how you can benefit from it, and also stay ahead of the game, stay ahead of the curve. And
yeah, one thing for sure after seeing all this stuff is, if your job, like we keep saying, is repetitive, where you can just teach someone to do the task over and over again, not even just robots, even with AI stuff, it's going to take over a lot of jobs. Just like the ports, they had a strike like a month ago. They didn't want automation. And the thing is, there already are countries, again, in China. It's because I think we're falling behind with countries like China. They have automation. They have all this stuff. So if we really want to be, dominant force and not, get our butts kicked by China, we have to compete. But this is also going to bring the cost of shipping down a lot. It sucks because those guys in the ports are going to lose their jobs, but you have to stay ahead of the curve. It's just like they said 100 years ago, 90% of the people were working in farms. Now only 1% of the population of the world works in farming. So it's going to change the world. I think it's exciting, because our kids, like my kid, when he's like 15 or 18, he's going to be like, Mom, I want to go to In-N-Out. He just gets in his van, and goes with his friends to go get In-N-Out. I no longer have to drive him around, or he or she drive around. It's a crazy world we're going to hit into.
yeah, it's definitely an amazing time that we're living in. And so, do the research, regardless of what your point of view is on Elon Musk, do your research and look into the different companies. It's not just Tesla. He has a lot of companies, actually, where he's doing a lot of amazing things. And
Or if you hate Elon, invest in his competitors. There's tons of people that are competing against him. There's Waymo that's trying to do the same thing, There's another company that Amazon is backing a lot. I'll put them on the screen that's building robots too, that Amazon and Microsoft are pouring millions of dollars. There's Blue Origin by Jeff Bezos, who's pouring all this money, not only into rockets, but also he's developing his own satellite system. So there's other competitors. It's not just this guy. This guy, does it first, and then everyone else tries to follow. Just like self-driving cars or electric cars. Everyone's like, no one's going to drive electric. We own electric. He actually likes it, and he's a car guy. He doesn't mind it. Those things are pretty fast. So the future is going to change completely.
Yeah, it's a different world we're living in. So be prepared, do your research, look into everything that's coming. It's very exciting.
I wish those companies were public. They're all private.
Yeah, it's a super exciting time that's coming. So definitely do your research, and this all ties back to financial literacy because a lot of these companies are private, but eventually they'll be public, and potentially there'll be companies you can invest in. You can add to your 401k, Roth IRA portfolios, or whatever, or work for them, because as they grow, so is the job opportunities. So we'll leave you guys with that, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week.